It's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. That means we have AEW Dynamite. As you know, this is their go home show before we head for this weekend's World's End. Because as you know, we have the semifinals of the Continental Classic. Who's going to walk out as the winner representing the Blue League and the Gold League? Well, we're just going to have to find out until we get there. We also have, of course, the ROH World Tag Team titles on the line. The Devil's Henchman takes on MJF and Samoa Joe. Anything could happen before then. But, however, first things first, we're going to review from two shows from earlier this month in December. The first one is Black Label Pro with Slamilton, featuring two title matches. Maki Ito making her debut in this particular promotion, Gangrel teaming up with Zaya Brookside, and many more. And then we move on with Wrestling Revolver, featuring two title matches as well, but several good matches. We have a no disqualification grudge match between members of the unit versus Jessica and Sammy Callahan, and we have plenty of more. And of course, we have the grizzled young veterans as well, making their debut. Then we move on with, of course, to end this with some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that have either been signed or departing from their promotions, injured wrestlers, developments that have been going on as well. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of reviews from various different promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, whatever we want to talk about. We also do some more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I'll put it in the next one. And of course, we have other cool stuff on this channel, such as the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other things. But if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button, and you'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel. But if you like this episode, please give us a like and a like button, or leave us a nice comment in the description down below. Now, let's begin with our very first review. This dates back in December 22nd. We have Black Label Pro, BLP. This is from their show called Slamilton. This took place on December 2nd. Opening match, we have TJ Crawford versus Dex Royal. I have seen TJ Crawford on MLW, but none of the storyline that he actually plays in that affects this. But it does show a little bit about TJ Crawford, who he is. You know, a good wrestler. I mean, he has some good kicks, not to mention he used that in order to pick up a pinfall against Dex Royal, which was very impressive. So we'll see how that goes. So that's how that match ended in that fashion. Now, our next match, this one will. Many people could argue you can't put two heels in the same match against each other. Well, that kind of went in that direction. We have Trevor Outlaw versus Hayden uh, Backlund. So these guys They always try to be the cocky ones who are better than other. But unfortunately, the referee saw both shoulders were from both guys were pinned, so it was a double pinfall. However, Trevor Allah was making a case, an argument in himself, saying, "Well, at least I'm the one who won. He lost." So basically, it's that whole thing. But I don't think the fan base cares because we don't like you. That's always been the argument. But yes. Our next match is a bit of a street fight. We have Shaza McKenzie taking on, well, you guys know this guy. He makes some very good reports from Fightful Select a lot. We're talking about Sean Ross Sapp. Yes, folks, the same Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select. Now, I know some of you are thinking, what the hell is he doing? Um, yeah, he's wrestling, but your guess is good as mine. Now, you probably ask, does he have any wrestling experience? Well, according to what commentators are saying, he was being trained by the guys from Violence is Forever. I'm like, okay, at least he had some help. That's a good thing. He even bought a boomerang because he thought that's the best way to take care of an Aussie, since Shaza is from Australia. It did not work. But I can tell you how this ended. It ended with him getting through a spear through a table by Shaza McKenzie, and just like that, it was over. But I give him maybe a C plus for effort, to be honest. But yeah. Now our next match, we have a very interesting tag match. Twist and flips consistent of Nate Cobain and Darian Fly. I'm gonna say Cobain is the twist and Darian Fly is the flip, which I think that's how I see it. They take on Latinos Most Wanted with Saban's Gage and Coda Hernandez. Now, I have seen these guys before in singles competition, but seeing them in tag team, no. This is the first time because I haven't been, how do I say, completely honest. I have not been seeing Black Label Pro for quite some time, but I was able to watch it. But I don't know. I was completely, truth to be honest, not too much of, how do I say this? Not pumped for it. But I can tell you this ends with doing a double finisher on Darren Fly, and they picked up the win just like that. I mean, like I said, I wasn't too pumped for it. I mean, I've seen the guy Coda Hernandez and Saban Gage before, but not too much, you know, hype for it. But nonetheless, the match was okay. Not gonna lie about that. Next match, we have Rico Gonzalez taking on Orlando Colon. And you guys may remember him from WWE as Primo Colon. That's right, guys. It's the same Primo Colon from WWE. The same guy. Now, I know some of you guys were saying, for real? That's really him? Yes, it was him. Um, no, he did not do the whole Carlito thing that he spits the apple in people's faces. No. But no, he went up straight up with the match. But the match went pretty well. And of course, he applied the infamous backstabber, and ended just like that. Next match, we have a very interesting one. We have Notre Dame Saints, consisting of Adam Slade and Bradley Prescott the fourth. They take on and Zy Brookside, taking on Zy Brookside and Gangrel. Yes, folks, same Gangrel who spits blood. The same ones. Now, some of you may ask, will Brookside drink the blood? Well, I can tell you yes, and gave in. That's the thing. But it was a double pinfall by both Brookside and Gangrel that picked up the win. Now, yes, those who might ask yourself, if you guys remember, Zaya Brookside is now residing here in the States. So she moved from the UK to here. But it's interesting that she teams up with Gangrel. Next match, we have Rachel Armstrong versus the cutest in the world, Maki Ito. Yet, Maki Ito did her infamous when you hit her, she cries and all this. But you probably would have assumed that this was also her debut match as well with Black Label Pro. From far as I know, she has never wrestled there before. But I can tell you this match ended with the high end cloverleaf. Of course, Rachel Armstrong had no choice but to tap. Next up, we have Dirty Dango versus Dan the Dad. Uh, Dirty Dango was trying to prevent Dan the Dad from drinking his coffee. Yes, folks, that keeps his energy going. So he tried everything, and the ref got knocked out thanks to Dan the Dad by accident. But of course, the coffee had to be the boost of energy. Luckily, it did work for Dan the Dad until he applied the backpack stunner, and it was over right from there. I mean, Dan the Dad is one of the most awesome wrestlers I've ever watched. So yes. Now, our next match is one of two title matches. We have the Black Label Pro Midwest Championship challenger Matt Makowski versus Calvin Tankman. Now, Calvin Tankman's a big dude. You know how this guy, he has good maneuvers. However, one thing that was clear, I have to say Makowski was really methodical what he was going through. Basically, he was aiming for the arm of Tankman. I have to say some wrestlers can try to bring a bigger wrestler down, and he was able to do that. Now, I completely lost count how many times he applied the armbar until he finally applied it, forcing him to tap. I don't know exactly if that was a good shock, but it ended just like that. But the fact of the matter is, Matt Makowski is now the new Black Label Pro Midwest champion. Now, our next match is a number one contendership for the Black Label Pro Heavyweight Championship. We have Mayang J. Lee versus Camaro Jackson versus uh, Eli Ism versus Joshua Bishop. Now, there were a couple of team ups we'd see this. Bishop and Camaro Jackson did team up to try to take out Lee and Ism, but it did not work. But of course, the much bigger threat was Bishop since he was the most strongest individual in the entire match. But it was Bishop that picked up a very impressive pinfall to Eliasm and become the number one contender. Now, our next match, we have the Black Label Pro Tag Team titles. We have the former champions of Violence is Forever, Kevin Koo and Dominic Greeny taking on Bang and Matthews, Davey Bang and August Matthews. I have to say this was a good match because it showed. As you know, Violence is Forever have tried to elevate the tag team division in Black Label Pro for years, and now they're saying here they're facing off a team that are now taking it into a different level, and I think that showed so much. But in the end, it was of course um what was it? Bang applied a move onto Guarini to pick up the win, just like that to take out the Bang Busto onto Garina. That's what it was. The Bang Buster onto Guarini. It was over right from there. However, in the post match, Guarini has gave his stamp of approval, believing now that the tag team division in Black Label Pro are now in good hands. And I think that's a good comment from them. So we'll see how they will elevate the tag team division in Black Label Pro. And I think that's pretty much it right now with Black Label Pro. Let's move on with Wrestling Revolver. Okay, Wrestling Revolver with their latest show, season finale, which, of course, it sounds a little not dramatic, But this is the last show of 2023 for Wrestling Revolver. Now, I failed to mention this on the previous review with Black Label Pro. That's also their last show of 2023. So basically, we just finished up with those shows since that was pretty much it. However, there were some good matches along the way in this particular show. Now, our first one, it opened up with the Revolver World title being defended. Jake Chris originally was supposed to have a title versus title match, but Alex Shelley got injured. So they found a replacement to take on Jay Chris, and that person was Gringo Loco. Now, Gringo Loco has gained a lot of popularity and notoriety in Wrestling Revolver. However, that wasn't enough until of course, Jay Chris applied the backslide, which has helped him win his matches on numerous occasions. So he was able to retain the title by using a simple move that is simple to use. Now I don't know how to use it, but it seems like just like that. Now our next match is grizzled young veterans James Drake, Zach Gibson making their debut, taking on the Rascals. Now they actually put in this particular match the storyline that they have not forgotten the last time. Now, if you guys remember, back then with the Rascals, they were one of the teams that were not able to beat them at NXT. So basically, they're trying to continue the story. However, they had a contempt with Zachary Wentz, but he's joined with Myron Reed in this particular match. But however, you can say in this match they did not get the one pinfall they would have wanted. They pinned Myron Reed when they applied the grind your teeth. I think that's the one, and they were over. However, this will put a little bit of ease for them. I'm sure they will one day get their hands on the Revolver tag team titles in the near future. Next match, we have Ami Sakura taking on Killer Kelly, who represents the newest faction, Red, Riches, Equality, Death. She's being joined by RSP. Now, freaking RSP is getting involved on multiple occasions during the entire match. Ami Sakura tried to avoid him as possible, but that wasn't enough. But of course, they had to pull. Kelly applied an old trick where the ref who was wearing glasses, they remove her. She was blind, but RSP once again got involved, and then of course Kelly applied the killer clutch, choked her out, and it was over right from there. As we know, Red are now making a statement since their first arrival. Next up, we have a very first time ever match, a very special one. Mike Bailey taking on Masaaki Mochizuki. Now, if you guys are unfamiliarized with him, he is one of the veteran wrestlers from Dragon Gate, one of the best wrestlers we've seen so far. He's been with the promotion for a long time, and of course, he's appeared in Pro Wrestling Noah, so that sets it up. I thought it was a pretty good match because we have seen Mike Bailey take on wrestlers. Not to mention recently he did took on Shun Skywalker recently in a few months back. But yeah, but it was a pretty good match. I mean, not even he tried the ultimate weapon on him, it didn't had no effect on him. But it was the triangle kick by Mochizuki that picked up the victory for him to give him the good win. Now, our next match is a golden ticket a scramble match. Now, those who don't know what this is where they win a opportunity to get a ticket to have a title opportunity of their choosing of any time, anywhere. So basically, um, that's how it is. So we have Ace Austin versus Jake Something versus Alan Angels versus um, Matthew Palmer, and they added the guys from the Alpha Sigma Zima group, Casey Jacobs and the Pledge. But of course, the Pledge, they had to shut the hell up because they were being annoying. However, the match was pretty good. But the one thing that I was interested is, of course, Ace Austin pulling off the inedible on Matthew Palmer when he applied the unfold. It was over. He punched his ticket. However, there was something the commentators were right about. One thing, Ace Austin has been tag team champion. He has been remix champion. Is there a possibility that he could cash in for the world title? Who knows? That is one thing that could be. However, out of nowhere, Matthew Palmer, the Monster Hunter, attacks Ace Austin, feeling like he was the one who got lucked out. I mean, this is the first time we ever seen him act this way. So who knows what was going on in that head of his? But yes. Now, our next match, we have the Bounty Hunter, Brian Keith, taking on Ortiz. A pretty good match. I mean, I have to say it was real fun. I mean, we rarely see Ortiz in singles competition, as you know, because we normally associate with him with Mike Santana as either Proud and Powerful, or LAX, however you guys want to see it. But seeing him do singles competition is a little bit of refreshing because we get to see what he can do. But it was a Fisherman Buster by Ortiz that picked up the win. I thought it was pretty fantastic. Not to mention Brian Keith was disappointed with this whole match, how it ended. Did not go in his favor, but nonetheless, Ortiz won. Now, next up, we have a bit of a grudge match and no disqualification. We have the unit consisting of JT Dunn and Ali Catch. Now, however, um, Ali Catch was not there or anything. Apparently, she opted out because she could not make it due to flight issues. Now, JT Dunn said he'll deal with her, but the manager, Phil Stamper, said he had a better idea, so they decided to introduce a new member of the unit, Damian Chambers. Now, I was unaware that they fired Infrared because they messed up, but they have to take on Sami Callihan and Jessica. But however, Sami Callihan shows up saying that Jessica could not handle a no DQ, so he made a suggestion to bring back Havoc. That's right, Havoc is back, more deadlier than ever. Of course, we were going to see Phil Snapper get involved one way or the other, but there were a lot of moments where you saw staplers, not to mention JT Dunn got stapled right in the gonads and all that other location. But um, Phil Snapper got skewered. And then, of course, Sami Callihan applied the Cactus Driver 97. However, during the post-match comments, post-match, JT Dunn applied a promo saying that he fires um, Damian Chambers out of the unit. But however, Phil Stamper was trying to keep things together for JT, but JT down the line realized he cannot trust him anymore, knowing that everything that Phil Stamper has done for him has failed, especially this particular match. So he told him that he was fired. But the obvious question does tell, what does this mean with the unit, his own group? Does this mean they're finally finished? Who knows? But the real question, will Phil Stamper try to reason with them, or will he do something else? Who knows? We'll see about that. Our main event, we have for the Revolver Tag Team titles, we have Red, consisting of RSP, Alex Colon, and Steve Macklin, taking on the Second Gear Crew. Um, one called Manders, Matthew Justice, and Lance Warner. So you think that this is going to be a bloody murder match. Now keep in mind, Second Gear Crew have been known for years as to use much as plunder as possible. But of course, things were going to go crazy out of nowhere, but it did. However, Killer Kelly did get involved on Manders until Macklin low blowed him, then applied the KI, and it was over. So just like that. So the story goes, now that the year ended here, what will the future be with um, Revolver Wrestling? Wrestling Revolver now have to contempt with Red. Well, we'll see where that leads us from here on out. So I'm sure we have two more shows coming up for next year. Mox versus Gringo taking place in January, and then What a Show in Texas in February. So we'll see what happens from there. But right now, let's move on with our final review, AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW and I believe this is New Year's Bash. Now, as you know, we're now getting closer and closer to the conclusion of the Continental Classic. We opened up with, of course, the semifinals in the blue Golden League. Now, this is a three-way match. No one anticipated this would happen. Now, I'm sure many of the wrestlers would have preferred a one-on-one match, but it became that way. We have John Moxley versus Jay White versus um, Swerve Strickland. Now, many people are anticipating Swerve will walk out since he is rising the ranks. But however, anything could happen. Now, of course, Jay White was trying to take out Moxley by taking a shot at his ankle or leg, however they were looking at it. If you guys remember last week, that's what was happening because Jay White is determined to reach the top in every way possible. But however, um, John Moxley was able to apply the Death Rider onto Jay White and pick up the win, and he heads to the finals. He'll be heading to World's End. Now, however, due to the fact that Swerve, during an interview with Tony Schiavone, now Schiavone is well aware that Swerve is not happy with the whole thing. So he basically is pissed off that things did not go according to plan. However, as you know, he's self-aware that his primary focus has been derailed because of Keith Lee. Now, keep in mind, a while back, Keith Lee was attacked by Swerve Strickland, betrayed by him, and now Keith Lee is looking for that match that they never had. Swerve will do whatever it takes. However, Lee set up a contract for that match. Even Nana was pissed about that no one informed them. But Swerve, he has no interest of try to deal with Nana's BS because he wants to end things with Keith Lee. He believes that with Keith Lee hopefully defeated, he can move on to bigger and better things from here on out. But we will see at World's End what happened. Now, as you know, Renee Paquette is down on the stage, interviews Mariah May. As you know, she claims what she did to Rio was the right thing to do to help Tony Storm. The fact that we have witnessed how Tony Storm doesn't truly pay attention to Mariah May on various occasions, and Rio came out to give her a beatdown. Then Tony Storm showed up for the save, but however, things did not go according to plan for the Timeless One until Rio showed her what she's made of. But the obvious question is, will Rio become finally a two-time AEW Women's World Champion? We will see until then at World's End. Now, as you know, Top Flight and Action Andretti they have been on a roll as trios. However, they came up short last week when they faced against the Acclaim and Daria. So they're looking for a challenge, and all of a sudden, Orange Cassidy shows up with Rocky and Trent saying, "We'll accept the challenge" on Rampage. And of course, Rocky, when he noticed Trent and Orange Cassidy, he tells them, "Hey, last week he did the same thing to me. See you Friday." So basically, Rocky's like seeing that Orange Cassidy just accepts whatever goes on. So I thought it was interesting. But yes. Now, as you know, the Don Callis family has been on a roll as well. Not to mention Kyle Fletcher becoming the brand new ROH World Television Champion and this and that, as you know. But however, we saw the return of Sammy Guevara. However, Sammy comes back, but basically he's not happy with how things have been going for him. As you know, he was out on injury. He had congratulations on everybody. He had phone calls for those who checked up on him, except for one person. And you can guess the most despicable person who's supposed to be the one to say that he is right, but even though he's always been not, how do I say, doesn't comply for what comes out of his own mouth. We're talking about Don Callis. And then it became a beatdown between both, beatdown on Sammy, a 4-on-1, and here comes Jericho for the save. So I don't know what was happening. And then, of course, Sammy Guevara actually hugged them as soon as they realized safe. But of course, Jericho had kind of was attacked by the tag team champions, Big Bill and Ricky Starks, trying to, of course, to hurt Jericho even further because they will not tolerate the fact that Jericho has an opportunity for a tag title match. However, the lights turned off and we saw Sting and Darby Allin. Nobody knows what was going on in that. But however, it did reveal that we're going to see, of course, Jericho and of Sammy teaming up with Darby and Sting to take on the tag team champions and members of the Don Callis family. So that's going to be an interesting match to watch. Now, once again, we do another interview, but this time with Roderick Strong. Renee Paquette, as you know, she's annoyed by Roderick Strong. Keep in mind, Strong for weeks have been telling people that the logical conclusion, who is the devil, is MJF. So he's been saying that. Now, many people have seen MJF that he has not been nearby. So the obvious question is this really, does Roderick Strong become paranoid, or is MJF really telling the truth? Is he not the devil? So we'll see about that. Now, as you know, we move on with the semifinals of the Continental Classic with the Blue League. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. Now, history has shown that Eddie Kingston not even once has ever defeated Bryan Danielson. Now, as you know, Bryan Danielson has been telling the entire world that Eddie Kingston is a bum. However, this bum showed him that he has the fighting spirit within him at any way possible. You know that he had, like, you can tell there was moments he was channeling the spirit of what his hero, like Kawada, Misawa, the Japanese wrestlers he has grown up watching, and he applied a power bomb onto that Bryan Danielson, and he makes it to the finals. I was like, whoa! It told he is the ultimate underdog. He actually started from the bottom, somehow made it all the way to the top. But that doesn't end there. As you know, he is in the finals, but he's facing against someone who's also familiarized with him, and that is his buddy Jon Moxley. So this is going to be an interesting. So Moxley, of course, got in his face and told him that you can't beat me. But however, Eddie Kingston doesn't need to know that. He knows that, but however, he's not going to give up without a fight. We will see those two face off at World's End. Now, some of you may question to me, who do I think will win? I feel like if Eddie Kingston wins, it tells the perfect underdog story. Eddie Kingston has always struggled to make it to the top, and that's always been that storyline about him. And now if he does that story, it shows he actually is the ultimate underdog. Now, we were going to see a sit-down face-to-face confrontation with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Well, it became a face-to-face, but not more of a beatdown on Christian Cage. So Adam Copeland attacked them. Then the entire locker room showed up, tried to separate them. Basically, Christian Cage called him a coward for attacking him. Well, who's the real coward? Christian Cage has been running from him. So basically, Adam Copeland was not going to let him run. So those two will see each other in a no disqualification match at World's End. Now, our next match, we have Chris Statlander versus Sky Blue. But in the commentary booth, that sniveling little weasel Stokely Hathaway, who had to stir the pot between both Chris Statlander and Will Anango, was there. He claims that there is a problem with them, but Chris Statlander doesn't believe a word that comes out. He's saying he's looking for the best interest in the women's division. Like, yeah, right. He's just trying to stir the pot. But however, this match could have won by Chris Statlander, but apparently it did not go exactly at Statlander's plan. Apparently, Julia Hart shows up. Then Sky Blue applied the Super Code Blue to take her out. 1, 2, 3 is over. Then, of course, Julia Hart tried to take her out, and Will Nightingale even showed up to help out Chris Statlander. Of course, Stokely doesn't believe that they're still friends, but, he's nothing but a liar. But when Julia and Sky Blue were tending to leave, Abaddon shows up. But the real question is, will Abaddon dethrone Julia Hart? We will see when that happens. Now, our last and final interview, Ruby Soho. Apparently, she is set to face against Marina Shafir. Then Saraya shows up and has a friend with her, and that is Harley Cameron. Now, as you know, QTTV probably is done already, so they're trying to build something with her. I'm sure of it. But as for Ruby Soho, she gets a call from Cool Hand Ange, and you know how that goes up. But yeah. Now, our next match, we have the Devil's Henchmen. We don't know who the hell these pricks are. They just showed up. They take on MJF and Samoa Joe. But in the back, we do see Samoa Joe attack. So MJF had to go at it at all. However, when things seems like MJF had everything under his control, a third henchman showed up, whacked MJF's with a lead pipe into his arm. But however, one of the henchmen applied the Heat Seeker, one of MJF's signature moves. I'm like, what the hell? But the obvious question is this someone from MJF's past? Who knows? But however, MJF lost because of this. Then the Devil's Henchmen tried to give a beatdown to MJF, and here comes Samoa Joe. But once again, the Devil goes out, throws a cryptic message that says, "Pleasure doing business with you." And it turned out this whole thing was a ploy by Samoa Joe. It turns out that Samoa Joe made a deal with the Devil to cost MJF the tag team titles. So basically, Samoa Joe now realized he has to focus more on the world title. So the real question is, will MJF survive against Samoa Joe? Can he beat him this time once and for all? Well, we'll just see what happens until then at World's End. So I think that's pretty much it for all our reviews. Let's move on with our final thing, and that is news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we're having for all of you. First things first, let's update on what's going on with the promotions, what's been added into their upcoming shows. Now, as you know, GCW already announced several shows for 2024. Amongst them is their Tampa show, Look at Me. And this one has featured, this was the GCW World title, Blake Christian defends it against Sawyer Wreck. And this will take place on the 26th of January. Now, two individuals have been added for next month's West Coast Pro Show. Ill Mattered. We have the Crazy Cajun, Gia Jewel, and of course we have Ishmael Vaughn, who returns to the promotion. So don't forget, this show will take place at the on January 27th of 2024. Now, as you know, Jersey Championship Wrestling (JCW) has continued to announce more names for the upcoming Jersey J Cup that will take place on both February 9th and February 10th of 2024. Now, they already announced 7 participants. Now they announced an 8th participant, and that is none other than Rina Yamashita. So she will be participant number 8. Now, as you know, KAOZ Lucha Libre has made their announcements for the return in 2024. They announced a show for the 39th anniversary show of Luchador Blue Demon, and amongst this will take place, of course, on the 24th of March. However, they even announced a participant for this particular show, and that is none other than the villain Marty Scurll. That's right, the villain Marty Scurll will be there. I'm so excited for that. And then finally, as you know, WrestleMania will take place in Philadelphia in 2024. And as you know, there's always the show known as the WrestleCon, where we see a lot of wrestlers there and all this and that. However, they announced that Ashley Sabura, better known as Dana Brooke, will be there. So yes, Dana Brooks, who we know she was released recently from WWE, will be at WrestleCon. So if you guys are in the Philadelphia area, or you're planning to go to Philadelphia for WrestleMania, go to WrestleCon and meet Dana Brooks and get your tickets, whatever, and all that. So yeah. Now, moving on from outside developments that we've been hearing. Now, as you know, not too long ago, McKenzie Mitchell was the NXT interviewer, backstage interview. Now, it was surprising that they let her go now, but however, she did have a recent interview with Chris Van Vliet, and this is what she had to say. Never say never. I know that people that said that and is kind of sound cliche, but it's true. I did not get to leave to have my goodbyes with the in WWE, but I didn't get to choose to leave. And that's where I was saying I think some people need to take a break. I didn't get that opportunity to say I'm ready to take a break. So basically, there is the possibles of her returning. So she'll be taking some time off, but we will see. Hopefully, one day we can see her when she comes back. I mean, we have seen this type of thing happen before. And then finally, as you know, on January 2nd, Pro Wrestling Noah has been advertising for their show on that day. Masa Kitamiya, as you know, issued a challenge against Tomohiro Ishii, and people are billing this show as this match as Noah versus New Japan. However, it seems that Masa Kitamiya doesn't see that this match is that. Like, don't try to bring that this is a match between both Noah and New Japan. No. He said this in a recent press conference, so this is what he has to say. This is billed as Noah versus New Japan, but this match is my own personal desire. I was the one who said it, and since I said it selfishly, I will stick to my selfishness until the end. On January 2nd, Tomohiro Ishii will be destroyed. That is all. So basically, Masa is saying, no, I'm not doing this as a Noah versus New Japan. I'm doing this because I want to do this. Yes, it sounds cliche, but this is my selfishness. I don't give a shit if you guys don't see it that way. So that's what he's saying. He's saying he's doing this on his own accord, not for Noah, not for New Japan, his own accord. That's what he wants to do. So we will see how this plays out on January 2nd. So if I do get the chance to see it, then I will review it. So for right now, I think that's pretty much it for everything else in our news update. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. I know that some of you may question how come I actually throw in Black Label Pro and Wrestling Revolver a little late. Well, it's because there was a lot of wrestling going on. It kind of sidetracked me, but luckily I actually got to do it. Now there's still some more wrestling for the month of December, a whole lot. I mean, I'm behind on JCW, I'm behind on Noah, All Japan, everything else. But I'll get that done hopefully before at the start of January of 2024. Hopefully I can get all of it done. I still haven't reviewed the entire. Well, I did watch and took notes on All Japan's tournaments with the Rio World Tag League and the Junior Battle of Glory. So we'll see where that leads us. But right now, this is what I have for you. But for the next episode, I do know we have Thursday. I don't know if MLW is going to do their own show or something. I don't know. That's something that's been unclear. I know I did the Holiday Rush show recently. What else? Impact Wrestling, we know they're going to do the whole best stuff. That's something I will put out, see what awards have been posted out. And then after that, we do know we have Ring of Honor. There are some good matches, but we will see how this progresses. But for right now, we'll just stick to what this, and I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.